What God is the amassed becoming of what has been focused into joyous, loving beingness. So let's talk about focus. Let's talk about the masses of humans. And let's talk about focus generating vibration, and vibration radiating, and law of attraction gathering the cooperative components. And so all that has been desired is that which is God. Humans have such a misunderstanding. Humans want what they think God is to be the deliverer of what I'm asking for. In the early days of these conversations, people would say, well, there's good and there's evil. And we would say, that's like looking for the absence of light. That's like thinking that the absence of light has a source, like an inky, misty source that is covering up the light, when what's really going on is that there is a light or a disallowance of it, but there is not a source of absence of light. And so that's what's going on. There's just this source of goodness and of love and of well-being that extends from generation to generation to generation to generation to generation in terms of physical conversation. It's this never-ending becoming. When someone, human, makes their transition into non-physical, they leave behind all of their doubt and fear, because any resistant thought that they picked up along their way and practiced is not part of who they are as they reemerge into non-physical, because the law of attraction does not summon from this individual those worrisome parts. When you are standing and looking to the universe or to the world or to any individual person or subject or idea, there are those things that you are a match to in terms of your source energy and things that you are not. So that which you want to call God, and we're fine with that as long as we're clarifying that God energy is such pure, positive love energy, and is what's focused in whatever you want to call this place that is non-physical. And the law of attraction is responding to that focus. Therefore, there's this sifting process that takes place when the consciousness that is you, the human, reemerges into non-physical. Anything that is not love does not get gathered up. Talk about a delicious reemergence into non-physical. And it is from that pure energy standpoint that everyone reemerges back into the physical, from that place of pure, positive energy. Really, you pick up all this negative stuff along your physical trail, and you want to say, why? Why is there any negative stuff? Why can't everything that is in the physical be an exact replica of the pure positive energy and love that is non-physical? And we say, because the variety is what helps you to explore and to come to your new conclusions. This conversation has never been into all of the universe. This is a first-time conversation. What's happening on your planet has never been before unto all of the universe. The combinations of focusers and thinkers and feelers and wanters and believers, it has never been like this before. It is uniquely wonderful. And out of the mix of it, all kinds of rockets of desires are being launched. It's interesting. On any side of any argument, you are at one with each other when you launch your rockets of desires, because they are about loving and more and longevity and self-interest and perpetuation of that which you believe to be good. Oh, you argue about what you think is good, but 100% of you wants what's good. And so that's what God is. God is the synthesized culmination of every focused thought. It's this pure positive energy resonance with life and well-being and more and continuation. Yeah. We said to Esther the other day, She was contemplating something going on in the world. A lot going on in the world. She was contemplating some of it. And we said to her, Esther, for just a moment, breathe with us and now think, rather than thinking about what the world is as it sees you, think about how you are seeing the world. It shook her up because she'd been focused on stuff that she does not want to be a match to. She doesn't want to be a continuation of. Now, when she croaks, no worries, she won't be. Not possible to take that stuff into non-physical. There's not a vibrational realm for it. It can't be. But she could be another human doing the spin-off of man's conscious thought, worrying about this and sending rivers and streams of stuff into motion that people can pick up on. And she heard us so clearly. And she thought, I am a lover. I don't want to spread that stuff. I don't want to radiate it for a moment. I don't want to match up with one other human that's feeling that way. I don't want to be a toxic expresser of energy. I want to tune my energy in the quiet of my own experience. And I want to calibrate myself to source energy so that when I am looking out into the world, I want to see what matches the eternal nature of the world. And then she and Michelle got on the airplane yesterday. Esther had been thinking about that. She meditated that morning, had received that. This is yesterday. Got on the airplane, and it was as if they stepped into a portal of loveliness. Every encounter with every person. There was a flight attendant who was brilliant and clever and funny and in love with everyone on the airplane. And Esther could feel it for sure. Everything that came out of his mouth was delicious to hear. Esther usually takes a nap while she flies. She didn't. She sat there and played with her coloring game and listened to everything that everybody within earshot of her was saying. And she noticed that this man who started out with the microphone set such a tone of fun and niceness and welcoming that everyone that was in Esther's earshot, everyone that spoke out, was right there with him. People that have probably never been funny in their life wanted to be funny like he was funny. And he repeated their funny to the whole crowd. Esther's never had a flight like that before, where whatever was going on was a match to that God within her. That guy certainly was. She gave him the credit for evoking it from her, although it had gotten started before she even got there. The law of attraction is what's going on all the time. And once you decide that you're going to calibrate to the God within you, then you radiate it and you give others an opportunity to calibrate to something that might be a little hard for them to see. But it was not hard to see in this flight attendant. Oh, he was awesome. When he came to ask Esther what she wanted to drink, she told him, and then she said really quietly, "You have set a magnificent tone on this airplane. It's just beautiful." And he just winked at her because he didn't do it accidentally. He did it on purpose. And then she listened to people playing and playing and playing. The girl that sat next to Esther was delightful. Everything about it was. And then when it was time to get off the plane, people were standing, waiting for them to open the door. Took a little longer than usual, which was just perfect for Esther because she wanted to suck up more of what was going on. And a man who had been engaging with the flight attendant quite a bit, he said to him, loud enough that Esther could hear, maybe everyone could. He said, "You know what you are?" And the flight attendant said, "No, what?" And he said, "You are what I call," he said. So clearly he's a philosopher that's been thinking about this stuff too. "You are what I call the common denominator." And Esther thought, he knows about matches. You are the common denominator. You set out intentionally to match the best of what was on this aircraft. And the man didn't go on to say it, and Esther thought to herself, and you found it. You found it. So that's what God is. And that flight attendant was as God is. Because that is what we're talking about tending to your own point of attraction. Being present, meaning being aware of what I'm calibrating to. See, here's how it goes. The word balance matters really a lot. If you breathe in more than you breathe out, you hyperventilate. If you plan to do more things than the amount of time you have accommodates, you get out of balance. If you tune to source energy and to everything that's in your vortex, so that you're being called in a strong way to lots of paths that are leading you to so many things that you've asked for, and you don't go, you're out of balance. And so the way you know whether you're in balance or not is by the way you feel. Usually when someone is just getting started in this, usually the first thing that we say to people is make more decisions in every day. Because when you decide that you want something, that's your conscious mind deliberately calibrating to the things that you want. Balance. If you spend more money than you have, you're out of balance. If you have more money, if you keep summoning money and you don't have something that you want to flow it to, you get out of balance. In other words, balance really is about in and out, in and out. You just can't really get out of balance if you're present in your now. If you care about the way you feel. So let's start again in an even more enhanced way of explaining this. So that's the basics. So now, here you are, you're active in your life, lots of different activities and subjects that you're focused upon. And some of them call you in a stronger way than others. Follow those. Let your interest be about what feels good rather than what must be done. Esther had a conversation with her daughter the other day that speaks to this precisely, because it was written to college students, and the subject was about how to solicit more productivity from your kids. More productivity. And Esther said, ugh. I think we should be figuring out how we can solicit more fun from them, how they can solicit more fun rather than productivity. Now, think about that. Your life, step one, has already done the asking. And inner being, the source, is already focused upon those requests. And with the help of the law of attraction, those cooperative components have already been summoned. So the productivity is built into the system. The balance comes. How do I, as a human individual, allow in what I'm asking for? So if I've asked for more than I'm letting in, I'm out of balance. That's really all you have to think about. Your life is calling for it. And it's all set up. Your vortex is full of the cooperative components. Your work is much simpler. Your work is, what does balance look like that lets in what I've asked for? Well, if I've got too much going on, I'm not going to let more in. In fact, I'm repelling it. If I'm having fun, when you get in that kind of balance, as it comes, you launch more rockets, and you also attract more means to deal. You will never, ever be out of balance when you are in alignment with source energy. You'll never be out of balance. You cannot get out of balance when you're in joy, and you cannot get into balance when you're in anger or in overwhelmment or in pain.